Welcome back to the Pride and Puck podcast. This is episode number 13, season number 2. We are part of the Hockey Hype Australia podcast network. You can find us at hockeyhypeaustralia.com.au. Pride and Puck podcast is on the socials at Pride Puck Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter/X. We're also on YouTube, so please check out the YouTube. It's where these episodes now get uploaded. So you actually have a visual of the guests that we have on, and we are heading back across the pond. And we're heading all the way over to Canada, and we have a person here from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Alex Kaulback. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, what time is it over there? I'm guessing you're heading to the future again, as our last episode that we had with KO. We're a day ahead of you. It's about 8:30 a.m. over here.
Yeah, we're at 5:27, almost 5:30 p.m. Monday night.
Is there a lot of snow out at Hamilton at the moment?
You know what? We've had such a mild winter. There's been next to no snow at all. I actually just put on my summer tires, ready to hit the road for the spring. It's like 6 degrees right now.
And for people who don't know Hamilton, can you tell the listeners or the viewers whereabouts Hamilton is and what sort of what Hamilton's all about? I know it from because I'm one of those weirdos where I follow the CFL in Canada.
Oh, okay.
So I know Hamilton from the Ticats.
Yeah, we have a football team. So we're still a major city. We're located about an hour from Toronto, or like the GTA area, where most people think that all Canadians live. So we are very popular. We have over 500,000 people, tons of sports, tons of great things. So we're also an hour away from Niagara Falls too. So it's a good little spot in Hamilton if you need to go anywhere around.
And before we get into it, do you think that there would ever be a time where Hamilton would have an NHL team?
You know what, I think they were thinking about it at one point because we have an arena downtown and they used to have like an OHL team and an AHL team, and then it was supposed to be going for renovations. But then they never ended up doing anything. So I think there was talk one time, but it would be nice. But I mean, the Toronto Maple Leafs aren't very far. Just hop on the train and you can get there in an hour.
And Alex is a 31-year-old trans man. You're also a founder of Queer Hockey Hamilton, which is a big reason why we have you on.
Yes.
One of the co-founders. Can you just give a bit of a background of Queer Hockey Hamilton?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I am one of them. There's 3 of us that run Queer Hockey Hamilton, myself, Janelle, and Katie as well. We started this up late last summer. Janelle, I only met recently last year, like just through social media, and she was trying to have bring some queer hockey to Hamilton as well. So we kind of already had the same vision in mind without really knowing each other. Katie, I have known a really long time from playing hockey back in the day, and she's huge with the LGBT community, and she wanted to help out as well and be a part of this. So we all do it together. With like the organization and things in the background, social media. So we started up late July and August, kind of starting to get some social medias created and kind of like book our own ice time and go from there. And then we just decided to book an ice time, get some people interested, and it grew really fast. We've been really happy and impressed with the growth we've had, even the last, 7 or 8 months or so. I was really inspired from playing in other queer organizations and tournaments. Like I played in Toronto the fall of 2022 with Team Trans, and it was an amazing experience. And then the following summer, I got to go out east to Halifax and play in a tournament again with more transgender players. And I was just like, you know what, like we need something like this back home. I'd love to travel to do it, but I want something close to home. Let's do something ourselves, because nothing like this existed in Hamilton. Even though Toronto has a really big gay hockey league as well. It's pretty big and it's usually pretty full, but there's also like an hour commute if you're going to go play. So we started up something local. Just kind of kept the ball rolling.
Were you surprised with the reception that you received when you started Queer Hockey Hamilton, or did you have a feeling that there was something there?
I did know there was a little bit of interest because we tried to start out by saying, "Hey, let's gather some queer players together, and then we'll go play shinny, and then kind of like have our own space so we have support from each other's players." There was 4 or 5 of us that kind of went out to the rink because it's hard when you're queer or transgender or any type of under the queer umbrella to go play sports when it's so dominated by toxic masculinity. So that didn't really work as well. I feel like Janelle is really good at making decisions and just kind of jumping the gun and saying, let's do it. And I think that's what makes us so great as well. So we're like, let's just book some ice and then we'll charge players like 15, $20 kind of thing. We'll basically cover the cost of the ice. Our very first one, I think we had about 25 people out. And then the next one was basically booked, and we've been booked solid ever since. I didn't even know this many queer players like in our city, in the surrounding cities. We've had a really good people say really good feedback to us saying like I haven't played hockey since transitioning or since coming out, or I needed somewhere safe to play. And we've just created this entire hockey community. Like actually, we just spent the last weekend going to other sporting events together. So now we've all become friends. And yeah, you didn't think those people existed or wanted to keep playing.
And you've got the three of you, so yourself, Katie, Janelle. I know you mentioned that Katie's a master of the social media, digital, all that sort of stuff. Well, maybe I need to employ Katie on this podcast to do the socials. But can you just give us an idea of the roles that each of you play within Queer Hockey Hamilton?
Yeah, I guess we kind of make all of our decisions together. Like I said, Katie does do a lot of the social media. She is really good at it and really good at piecing things together digitally and being really creative. That's what her forte is. Janelle is really, really good with like our Google email and spreadsheets and kind of keeping track of things, especially things financially. We kind of all do a lot of things together, but if there's things that require more speaking, maybe even things like this, they kind of turn to me for this. Like when we had our very first shinny, they said, "Hey, Alex, like, go say a speech, or go talk to this person, or like, yeah, can you take this call?" I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, so there's not really any defined roles, I guess. Like we all kind of jump in whenever we can because we all have busy schedules. Sometimes I feel like one person has more free time over another to kind of get things done. But we're all pretty equal in what we do, I would say. Even kind of taking turns who has some of the gear. Like right now, I've got some stuff in my living room, and just kind of go from there.
So if anything goes wrong, you're the face of the organization. So you're copying all the heat.
So far, we've been so good, though.
And for yourself, you transitioned 7 years ago. Can you just tell us about that process and what happened when you went through that transition?
Yeah, of course. I played girls hockey growing up, and just in Hamilton. It was good for the most part for what it was. I was already mistaken as a boy growing up as a teenager, and I think you can play up until like 19 or something like that with some of the leagues. After that, I played a little bit of adult leagues, and they were okay. After I did transition, I did take my shot at just playing men's league. I felt like I could like pass enough to like kind of just play in those leagues just undisguised. But I didn't really fit in with them. It wasn't really as great. I had pride tape on my stick. And of course, people have to throw around comments. I just don't understand why it has to be that way. So I just stopped playing. That was maybe like 4 years ago or so, where I would just play some pickup here and there. But then, like I said, like when I discovered Team Trans, and there's like this huge world of queer hockey. I mean, even across the world right now too, right? It's a game changer, really. Getting to play with people who like also felt outcasted growing up, and then just bring everybody together. And one thing we did with Team Trans, and when I played in the queer tournaments, was have gender neutral change rooms. So we've kind of adapted that as well with Queer Hockey Hamilton, and it's gone amazing. We've had no complaints whatsoever. We even check in with our players, making sure everybody feels safe. Anything we can do to kind of do things better. But everybody is amazing, and the chit chat in the rooms, you get that real team vibe experience, which is nice.
Yeah, I felt that when I recently did a come and try event with the Southern Lights, and you might know the Southern Lights here in Australia.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing. That locker room was awesome. The vibe in the locker room was so cool. It was totally different to any sort of sporting locker room I'd ever been involved in before. And you was talking about that toxic masculinity, and it was just so awesome where none of that was sort of, you didn't feel any of that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Just make it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So in outside of the queer hockey clubs and organisations in Canada, is that real toxic masculinity still a major issue in the local leagues, do you think?
I do think so, because I think at first we think it's an issue for trans people playing sports, but it's not always that way because anybody who's gay would just feel like they're left out. Whether it's a gay woman in a women's change room, some people are going to be quick to judge, say that girl is checking me out, and same with guys. Guys are even more fragile with it as well. We do have we have several gay players, but I do remember having a conversation with one of our gay players, and he's like, I can't really be myself, like playing regular hockey with the guys. He's like, they just don't get it, right? Or they feel weird about it. So I think it's something that kind of needs to be overcome slowly, even just starting with like just minor hockey and just being like inclusive and accepting of people.
And you mentioned to me that when you transitioned, you felt like you would lose your place in hockey. Do you look back on that now? How do you look back on that sort of time now, transitioning in hockey? Because obviously you love hockey. You grew up playing it. A lot of people will say if you're Canadian, you love hockey, which is a big generalization. But how do you look back on that time now that you've sort of moved past that and you've got Queer Hockey Hamilton? You've been involved with all different sorts of queer tournaments and things like that.
It's pretty crazy to think about and look back on, like thinking that like I would have no place to play, I would have no friends to kind of play hockey with, or just anywhere again just safe to play like in a league. But I'm super blown away and super happy and just grateful for the community that we have created. Just because we have a lot of players now, and I feel like we are like our own kind of group, and it's safe. Like we rent our own ice; it's not open to like the public. So it's kind of crazy and overall amazing, I would say. I don't really have enough words for it.
And Queer Hockey Hamilton, you've had around 100 players come through, and you've also had players that have been there from the start. Is that because the environment with Queer Hockey Hamilton, you've created a really good space for queer people?
Yeah, I would say so. We've had some players like that are very consistent since day one, like game one, and then people are always, if you can make the game, then if you can't make it because of scheduling, like totally understand that. But yeah, I think it's just people didn't have anywhere to play, and maybe they just kind of got out of the game for a bit. Maybe they got out for different reasons other than being queer. But then when you just kind of have something new and you have it like safe and fun and inclusive, even just like the level of hockey we play, we have it just for fun. Kind of like make sure both teams have fun, even with like a little bit of a competitive aspect, but nothing over the top because we have players of all skill levels. We've actually created a lot of players as well. We have a little bit of we call it our loaner locker, just kind of like a little bit of extra gear that we have on the side. So if players are maybe missing stuff or maybe kind of want to give hockey a shot, we can get them all geared up and get them to play. So we've kind of helped them establish their own being a player themselves. Sorry, I'm losing my words. So I think it's nice. So then slowly people become friends.
And Queer Hockey Hamilton, is that it's a total inclusive club, obviously. So it's not just queer people that can join; it's anyone.
Yeah, we do have it open to absolutely everyone, but just as long as like they are allies, we try to keep it like kind of more queer. But we do have a couple allies who come to play as well, so you wouldn't really think anything different. So, but then some people maybe they don't want to play. But the allies we do have are really, really good people all around, and they have no issues with anything. And I think they're there to support the players as well, and like making sure like that they know that they're a safe person to be around.
And you touched on it just a second ago a little bit, and just from your story as well, when you transitioned, you felt like you didn't have a place in hockey. Have you had a lot of fresh new people to hockey through Queer Hockey Hamilton for the very first time, who they probably growing up might have felt like you or other people within community that just had no space, felt like there was no space for them?
So what I was saying was on our shitty registration forms, we've kept it basically the same since the beginning, and we have in there, are you a returning player or are you a new player? And I would say every single game that we've had, we have somebody new, whether somebody hears it through our social media or brings a friend, or just maybe they've been eyeing us and wanting to give it a try. So there's always somebody new, which is really nice, because even sometimes if we don't recognize somebody, it's like, oh, okay, like you must be new, and then we just kind of chat with them.
And you mentioned earlier as well, when you were playing in the men's league, about the pride tape and the slurs and things like that. How did the clubs and the local organisations with those sort of things handle that? Or did you not say anything, or did you just sort of put your head down and just sort of rolled with it?
Yeah, I just kind of rolled with it because I didn't really feel like there was any sense to make a big deal. It was just a beer league. Like, it was nothing crazy. It didn't really play any high level or anything like that. And I mean, I feel like if you say something, especially to any kind of athletic guy, the first thing they're going to want to do is fight. Because it did get a little bit, like, not with me, but just you would see it on the ice. Like, they like to get rough and everything like that. And like, I'm not really about that for hockey. We don't really kind of play like that with Queer Hockey Hamilton. And like, I didn't really want to cause a fuss. And I don't think the league would have done anything in particular, which is kind of sad, but that's also just my opinion. Like, I don't actually know. But I think every league could be a little bit different as well.
And you've obviously had a lot of players that have played or joined Queer Hockey Hamilton that hadn't played since they'd come out, or transitioned and were their true authentic self. What's the biggest, I suppose, or best thing that you've seen from people from those backgrounds since joining?
Okay, I think one of my things keeps dying. I don't know. It's terrible. But what I was saying was, for players, like, whether they're transgender or not, like, or just part of the queer community, I think it's the confidence that they bring with them to the ice. Like, especially when you are transgender and you have to take your clothes off to put your hockey equipment on. You want to make sure that nobody's like kind of judging you, like, with anything going on. Like, you could be pre-transition, you could be, you could have had surgery, you could have not had surgery. So it's all over the place, really. But the confidence that people have to kind of show up and go into the locker room and be like, all right, cool, like, ready to put my stuff on. And it's weird when I just kind of think about that now, because I remember being like hesitant as a kid every single season, be like, okay, I'm going to walk into this room. Who's going to remember me from last season that knows that I'm supposed to be here? Or who's going to be a brand new player and going to say, this is the girls' change room. What are you doing? So I was always scared of that growing up. Sometimes I'm still scared of that. Like, when you're just like, even public bathrooms. So I think it's like a fear that people, like, you have it stuck inside you, and then we just want to break that down.
And what's your best moment in queer hockey / Queer Hockey Hamilton? What's been the best moment that you've had? Because you've obviously traveled around, you've gone to Halifax and things like that for tournaments. What's the best moment that you've had?
It's hard so far. We've had a lot of really good ones. When we were very new, we were featured in our newspaper in Hamilton, which was nice. We have gotten a couple of donations, which is really good as well, from our supporters, some players, family, and friends. So with one of our donations, we did like a player appreciation night, and just we paid for the ice, and we got some drinks, like just sports drinks for our players. But we have a tournament coming up in about a month. So that'll be a really good moment for us as well. We're hosting our own tournament. But I don't know, it's hard to pinpoint one exact moment, really.
I was going to mention the tournament that's coming up. It's probably a really good time to have you on the podcast, because hopefully, if people are listening, they might want to head down it. So it's called the Spring Fling. It's your very first tournament from April 13 to 14. Can you just tell people about the tournament, what they can expect, and where they can find the information about the tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that we share, we post on our Instagram. So Queer Hockey Hamilton. We're having it at the Wentworth Sports Arena, which is located in Hamilton as well. Funny thing with this arena is we were playing at a different arena, and because of our newspaper article, the owner of the arena that we play at now reached out to us and said, hey, like if you guys want some ice time, like let's kind of create something here. And we ended up getting some better deal and got to play more frequently. So we're kind of worked out better for us. We're like, wow, this is really nice that somebody wants to like give us space to play. So our tournament's coming up, and we're just kind of going all in with this one. We are keeping it small for our first one, which is 4 teams, and almost every spot is filled right now. I believe there's 1 or 2 spots maybe to be filled, but it's okay. We'll fill them for sure. We're also doing a little bit of a raffle as well to kind of raise some funds for more hockey in the future, and also see if we can help out other local communities and sports teams as well. So we're kind of getting all that kind of stuff together. We were reaching out for a bunch of sponsors as well. Anyone see we can help us out. So that's what some of the stuff that's sitting in my living room. It's a little bit of surprise, I guess, but we picked up some BioSteel to kind of throw in the bags and some little goodies and stuff for the players. So I think we're really fortunate. I think we've just been honest and authentic with everybody else, and even the people we've reached out for sponsorship or any kind of donations. And because I think they can see that we're just kind of trying to be authentic and not trying to do anything unethical. People are really supporting us, which is really, really, really nice.
And how have the rinks in Hamilton embraced queer hockey Hamilton? I know here in Victoria, in Australia, we've got a rink, Ice HQ, and they're an awesome supporter of the Southern Lights and inclusive hockey. How have they embraced queer hockey in Hamilton, the rinks?
I think that's a good question. The arena we were playing at the first time, like we were hanging pride flags in the arena and everything. We never got anything negative about it. We didn't say you couldn't do that. We never got any type of hate. And I think that the fact that the arena we play at now reached out to us, I think they're supportive and inclusive with it as well, because they wanted to give us a space to play since they had the ice time available and actually ended up being more affordable. With the city rinks, it's a little bit more challenging to get the ice time through the city itself. They are more expensive. So we haven't really explored that one yet, more so on just the private owned rinks. But we've been lucky.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I think it really helps if you've got the support and backing of the rinks. Obviously, the rinks are important to play hockey, but to get support from the rinks, I think is really important. You mentioned as well with Team Trans, you went and played in Halifax, but you're actually sending a team to Halifax in July 2024 for the Pride Cup. How excited are you about actually sending a team there?
I'm ecstatic, like through the roof excited. I just booked my flight yesterday. It's crazy because part of last year's tournament is almost like the beginning of Queer Hockey Hamilton, because I remember I was in Halifax. I was in my hotel room. This was like late July. I sent a message to Janelle because I think it's when we were just starting to brainstorm for some queer hockey. And I said, let's just do it. Let's just do something. And she said, done. Okay, let's do it. We created an Instagram and then like a Facebook page. She created a little bit of a logo, and then we just kind of went from there and just started spreading the word. And kind of like, it just slowly became a thing of what it is today. So last year when I got to play with some trans players as well, like it was amazing. It was fun to be part of that team and environment again. But I'm more excited this year to send my own players. I've got a team of 14 right now, 100% confirmed. We're talking about like, accommodations, traveling together, everything like that. So I feel very proud to be able to send our own players. Some of these players have maybe never played in a tournament or even a tournament somewhere else. So it's really exciting, and we're trying to keep the team like as close as possible in our accommodation, so we can just kind of have that team bonding moment during those tournaments, that the ones you kind of do when you're a little kid and you're playing sticks and pucks and always, or you're staying up too late, just all the fun stuff that comes with tournaments.
Did you, obviously a cost is a big factor in traveling around, but did you have a lot of interest when you announced that, hey, we're thinking about putting a team together to go to Halifax? Was there a lot of interest?
Yeah, I had interest from some of my players, like who were my friends, before I even kind of like announced it, because some of these players I got to play with last year, or like I would like kind of bring the idea up, and some players are like, I've already booked it off work, let's go. Or I have a friend I have another friend who lives, I think he's about 2 hours away from Hamilton, but he still comes to Hamilton to play once in a while. I met him through Team Trans, and his name is Alex too. And he's like, if you're throwing a team in, he's like, count me in. He's like, let's go. So it's really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's all. It's hopefully it's the start of just more tournaments, more traveling around and meeting everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the one thing you would say to a queer person who is looking to start sport and hockey, not just any sport but hockey? What would be one word of advice you would give to a queer person looking to start hockey, given that your journey as well within the sport?
Yeah, no, of course. Like if there is somewhere to play, like somewhere safe and inclusive, like in Hamilton we also have like an inclusive softball league. I don't know anything about it though. I just know we have one. I know people are trying to start up queer basketball as well. If there are queer resources like that, I think it's a great place to start. Said before too, it's like we've created some players maybe who didn't have all their equipment. My sister actually is one of our created players. Well, created players. It sounds kind of weird, I guess, but she didn't like play a lot of. She didn't play hockey with me growing up. But through the help of the loaner locker, we got her some gear a couple months ago, and she's been playing ever since. And she's actually coming to Halifax as well, which is nice because obviously we grew up together, and we just kind of keep giving people the motivation to keep trying, keep playing. Another thing we do to kind of help our players is we run skills and drills sessions to kind of enhance people's ability on the ice and learn something new in a safe environment. So I feel like it's good to connect with other queer organizations, not just sports, so then people can maybe see that those sports are out there and there's somewhere for them to play.
So do you get that a lot in Hamilton? Do you connect a fair bit? I know that you mentioned Janelle's. I think it was Janelle's quite good at that, connecting with organizations, other organizations, LGBTI organizations.
I think things are big on Instagram as well, with following other queer organizations, them following us back, sharing each other's content, and just kind of seeing all the queer groups that are kind of out there. So we share each other's stuff, and I think that kind of helps promote each other and also see there's other stuff out there to try as well. I know Katie connected with I think it was like a queer walking club, so she'll go out and connect with people that way as well. So it's gonna good to interact with other members of the community. We do have a sponsor as well. It's an osteopath clinic where everybody there is queer as well. So it also goes hand in hand with sports, taking care of your body. So I think that's been really helpful for us as well.
Queer Hockey Hamilton, it's only sort of fresh and it's not very old. But where do you see do you have like a vision? Did the three of you have a vision of where you sort of see Queer Hockey Hamilton in say 5 to 10 years time, or is it just sort of okay, we'll get through now and look to the future later?
I think we would love to become a league in the near future. And I think just kind of also following suit of what other queer organizations have done as well. I know Halifax is starting up their league. I do have some friends in Ottawa as well who run Ottawa Pride Hockey. I think they said they're going to be joining a little bit of a league as well. I think we could have a league in 2 to 3 years, maybe even sooner. It just kind of all depends to figure out all the logistics of it. And then in the 5 to 10 year time frame, I think we could be as big as the Toronto Gay Hockey League because everybody started small, and I know that league gets really full really fast and gets waitlisted sometimes. But then if there's somewhere else that somebody could play, maybe in the Hamilton area, because there's a lot of close surrounding cities, I think it's like that as well.
And what's next for Alex? What's on the horizon for you?
In regards to hockey or just in
Yeah, in hockey, life, anything exciting happening for you in the future?
Not a whole lot really. We just kind of like work away at this. Looking forward to the summer, I guess. We're trying to figure out some summer plans to do. We do a little bit of ball hockey on the side as well. It's a whole other topic as well, but it's still under the Queer Hockey Hamilton umbrella. Hopefully, get some more ball hockey going in the summer. And yeah, just kind of continuing the growth of Queer Hockey Hamilton. I think we want to just figure out what we can really do with it and just keep growing it from there. Like I said, the growth has been insane from when we started to now. Even our following on Instagram. I feel like it was really fast.
Before I let you go, if you just want to just plug any places where they can find Queer Hockey Hamilton, the tournament coming up, just let people know exactly where to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our main and our biggest one is going to be Instagram. So it's just going to be at Queer Hockey Hamilton. We also have a Facebook group called Queer Hockey Hamilton as well. We try to post things in there as well for people who don't have Instagram. I think that's pretty much it. We are working on a website. Hopefully we can get something like that going soon. I mean, of course, we also made our own T-shirts through a local place. I'm trying to think of the words. Local business, yes. We made some T-shirts and hoodies, and our players really like those as well. It's good material, and then easy to show the representation.
And where can people purchase that sort of stuff? Is there a place? Because some people all around the world might want to get hold of the gear.
That's true. We have sent a couple across, like in different places in Hamilton, not too many. We have it local for now. I mean, it would be really cool to be on a bigger scale. The last ones we did, I sent one over to Alberta. I have a friend there, and then we typically post them on our Instagram with like a 1 to 2 week window, and then we send it off to the business, and then we kind of pick them up and give them to people at the games, or they can come by and pick them up if they wanted to.
Awesome. So we have the Spring Fling, April 13 to 14. Get in contact with Queer Hockey Hamilton if you want to find out more information and get along and have a look. I think it's awesome what you three are doing over there and what you've started and everyone involved. I wish you nothing but the best in the future and for your tournament. Hopefully it all goes well. There's no hiccups there, and good luck as well in Halifax.
Thank you.
Alex Kaulback, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.